Well, we usually try to be very efficient here, so hopefully we won't have you very long.
Well, my next major meeting is at 6 o'clock, so you got a while. There we go.
Okay. Can give you a little break.
You're still waiting on 2 more to have a quorum.
Okay.
So as a new member, I wanted to first find out about the reimbursement for being on this committee.
Maybe we can put that on our agenda for next month.
Yeah.
I mean, there should at least be some annual meeting or luncheon or maybe certificate I should get.
A certificate, we might be able to help you.
That definitely, that sounds feasible. We won't talk about providing food.
And then do I have any veto powers with being the only elected person here? I guess not, huh? Okay.
No. Let's see if we get, Josh said he could hop on if he has to, but if we don't get one other person, we won't have a quorum.
Patrick, do you know if the judge was coming?
She didn't mention that. I can send her an email to see if she's available.
She said she's got a meeting. Sorry, I didn't mention that. So she won't be here. Judge Parga won't. I don't know about Judge Karianis.
They just finish, just finish right now. I can try and get a hold of her and see if she can log on. Would that be enough to get us a quorum?
Yep, because they have 2.
Well, good afternoon, Lark. I haven't seen you for a while.
I know it's been a full 2 weeks. Judge Karianis will sign on in a couple minutes. She had just had to finish up signing some orders.
Perfect. Thank you.
Glad to have you part of the group, Vern.
Thanks. I got some catching up to do, so I'll, as typical, I'll be very, very quiet.
As soon as we get the judge, then we will be, because Eric just joined, then we'll have a quorum. Oh, Josh hopped on.
Okay.
So we'll have a quorum.
Okay.
Oh, good. Do you want me to tell her? Or
Yeah, if you want to. I mean, if she's got, yeah, if you want to.
Okay, so I'm good to start, Julia?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Today,
Sorry.
I know you're fine. Today, we are going to start with introductions because we are excited to announce that we finally have a county board representative with us. So thanks to Lark for her efforts in getting that taken care of for us. So we're really excited for that. So we're going to start with introductions today. So I am Rochelle Conant. I am the chair of the Juvenile Justice Council, and I am also the public defender. Julia, do you want?
I was going to say, I can go next. I'm Julia Schick. I am the coordinator for the Kane County Juvenile Justice Council. Do you want me to just name
Yes.
off people?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so then I see Patrick next.
Yes, I'm Patrick McCarthy. I'm an assistant state's attorney in the juvenile division.
Okay. Lark,
Mark, you're muted.
Lark Howard, Assistant State's Attorney in the Abuse and Neglect Division.
Latanya,
Hi, Latanya Hill, Kane County Court Services, one of the directors. Normally myself or Lisa attends this meeting.
Josh,
Josh Axelson, Coordinator of Alternative Programs for the Regional Office of Education.
Eric,
Eric Majewski, St. Charles Police. I represent the Kane County Chiefs of Police Association.
all right, and then Vern, if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Vern Tepe. I'm on the Kane County Board, but just to give you a little bit more background on me. One, I live in an active adult community, so we don't have a lot of teenagers right here near to us. But I've been pretty active in politics for the past 7 or 8 years in the Elgin area. I'm a Democrat, but fortunately, when you get on county board, the county board is not nearly as partisan as you might think that it is. It's really everybody trying to do what they think is best for the county. So in addition to that, I've been very active with Family Service Association. I've been on that board for, I think, 5 years now. And I'm a key believer in providing as much mental health resources as we can to the community, not only for juveniles, but all the way through adults. So if that means AID, if that means Ecker Center, if that means Aunt Martha's, you'll find me out there trying as much as possible to see that they've got the funding and the support that they need to make things happen. Okay, and I'm willing to be here and help make things happen as much as I can.
Well, once again, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to working with you. Judge Kirianis has joined, so I'm going to have her introduce herself as well.
Kathy Kirianis, I am the judge presiding in Juvenile Abuse Neglect Court right now.
Yes, we've met.
We have good morning or good afternoon, Mr. Tepe.
Okay, so then we can move along to approval of our minutes. Julia did send those out. So I would just ask if there are any corrections or additions. Then those will be approved without as they were submitted. Our next item is the chairman's report, just first for financial. For the month of February for personnel, cell phone, and laptop, we spent $2,420.84, which brings our year to date to $14,161.56. As already indicated, we are grateful to have a county board member now as part of our board as well. And then just a heads up that there will be a couple of email votes coming out. Last week, Julia? Last week, we did the wake up call at Hergert Middle School. And I don't know if any of you have been able to attend any of those that we have done in the past. This was the first one that I was able to attend. It was really a cool experience. And it was kind of interesting to watch the parents' reactions to the presentation that was put on and the different ways that substances and alcohol can be hidden. There was some really, most of them I had seen before, but and I'm sure Eric and Josh maybe see some of these too, but a couple that got me was a key fob. It's a fake key fob that they take apart and can hide pills in, and a fake cell phone that was that used for a flask, right? Yeah, used as a flask. So that was a very interesting experience. But the email vote that will go out is because we have had another request to do one from East Aurora. Was that high school, Julia, or middle school?
high school.
So there will be a an email vote to determine if we, again, want to partner with them to put on a wake-up call for East Aurora High School then. The second issue that will come out as a email vote is Will County is working on starting up their Juvenile Justice Council. Julia has spoken with them to kind of talk to them about how we do ours, things that we have learned, good things, bad things. They were interested in information as to our data plan. So the email vote is just going to be as to whether we all agree to share that information with them. So be on the lookout for those two things.
Michelle, can I just mention, I just was contacted and I've been out, unfortunately, with some family issues. So I haven't had an opportunity to tell Julia about this. I was reached out by the chair of the, I'm trying to get the right county, Winnebago County Juvenile Justice Council. Well, so I think they will also in the future will want to have maybe initially a meeting with myself and Julia, just to kind of talk about what we've done on the council and get some information. So we may end up at that same point of having to have a discussion about data sharing with Winnow. So I just wanted to put that on everybody's radar.
Julia,
it's
did I say the wrong county?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
I'm
actually
sorry.
Winnebago County.
Yes, it's Winnebago.
Oh.
It dawned on
Yeah.
me
Okay.
when you said Winnebago, Latanya, I was like, wait, I said the wrong county. So
So they're contacting everybody then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, because I just got an email last week, so.
And you know, Julia reached out to me to talk to me about this, and I just felt that it was kind of a decision that the board should make as a whole, whether we want to share content that we have worked to compile. If we want, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with us sitting down and kind of telling them what works for us, what doesn't work. This is how we run our council. But I think when we are talking about sharing actual information that we have worked to put together, that is our work product, I think that should be a board decision. And so that's why there will be an email vote on that. The issue came up a little too late to make it part of our agenda for today. So that's why it will be an email vote. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, so then moving on to old business. First topic is youth engagement. Julia and I attended, we talked about this a little bit last month, but we attended a Zoom meeting with students from Illinois Math and Science Association. And Julia, I'm going to get that acronym for their group wrong.
So am I. I can't look up what the acronym is.
It's a social justice group that they have, and so we met with them because again they were interested in working with our council and seeing if there was any way that they could take part in it. As we discussed last night, these are probably not youth that have had court involvement, but they still have a big interest in what's going on. And specifically what they have an interest in is mental health in youth. And they are starting a podcast, and they had completed one episode, but what they had talked to us about is whether we would have people that we could kind of send their way for potential guests on their podcast. As I indicated, that the first, I believe the next one that they wanted to work on was mental health. So if anybody is interested either in specifically talking on the podcast about mental health in youth, or if you think you have any other topic that they may potentially be interested in, I would encourage you to reach out to Julia. They were a very smart group of kids and had, you know, some good questions for us. And so I think that it would be a good experience and a good outreach for the council as well. And then additionally, we did met with the SCAC at West Aurora. They did that. That was last week, right? The second meeting was last week with them.
This week.
Okay, I'm sorry, this week. And the meeting with the middle school ended up being a debrief to discuss future opportunities. And those students may also be interested in participating with our council. Dr. McCall is asking the students what they think would make sense for their involvement. Julie, did you have anything else on that?
I just didn't know if Josh or Eric were part of those discussions this week, if they wanted to speak to those, or Latanya, if Lisa had passed anything over to you to share about the experience.
Yeah, I think it was good speaking with the students at West Aurora. I think some of them had some really good questions. I think for us on the panel, we didn't really know what background knowledge they had, what kind of questions they're going to ask, but I thought they did a really good job. When we debriefed yesterday, I thought as a group we gave their organization a lot of good feedback and directions they could go with their group. And overall, I thought it went really well.
I agree. I really don't have anything much more to add. I thought we had a good conversation, good questions, good rapport. So I would definitely look forward to meeting with them again.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, then we are moving on to parent engagement. Julia is going to reach out to the parents from the parent council to see if there is any interest and then the members are meeting with some of the local service providers to see if there is an opportunity for them to help with some of the parents who are on waiting lists for services.
I would just, that's just really knowledge for the good of the board. I know we have talked about that issue, that there's a lot of wait lists going on right now with mental health services. So just to acknowledge that some of the work that the parents are doing in the community already as part of the parent councils.
And then law enforcement, as we voted and decided before, Julia has reached out to Strategies for Youth to determine what our next steps are to be able to get our police officers engaged with the juvenile jeopardy. And next is restorative practices. Julie, do you want to take this one?
Sure. So we received a request from West Aurora to do a one-day training in, I think it'll probably end up being in May. So that's another training that's going on. We have a 2-day training planned for the end of March, beginning of April. That was one that was rescheduled with Family Service Association from January to this spring because of the pandemic and wanting to do it in person. And then actually this morning, I brought together the subcommittee again. We used to have a restorative practices subcommittee that met pretty frequently. So we reconvened today just to kind of check in to see how things were going. We hadn't met for some time. The pandemic really took a toll on the conversation. And so I wouldn't say that there's necessarily concrete steps next. We're going to try and do some outreach to the schools to see where they're at. We didn't have any of our school representatives that used to attend that subcommittee present. And so just kind of checking in to see where they're at. And then there's also some momentum in other community groups that we're going to be working with around restorative practices. So the subcommittee will reconvene sometime in May, but just to get some updates on that. But that is where we're at with that.
Any questions on any of that? Okay. Then our family court guides, Julia just received those translations this week. So she's going to get everything put together and get quotes for our printing. And hopefully we will have all that information by our April meeting. And then the expungement packet is still under review. So moving on to racial and ethnic disparities, the RAD team is going to meet next week, and they are hoping that they will receive a data brief from the IJJC soon. At the IRJEC meeting this month, they are going to be doing a presentation on racial equity impact assessment. So Julia will be at that meeting and will bring us back information in regards to that. And Julia is also, based upon our past discussions, she's working on finding a training related to cultural humility and poverty. Kristen sent her the training qualifications that the officers need. So we're hoping that we can try to find a training that will meet some of their mandated training requirements. Any questions on that? Okay. So as we've already discussed a little bit earlier, our SEAC speaker requests have been completed. Julia sent out the email vote in regards to the publicity announcement that went out. So those requests to speak have all been completed. As we talked about a little bit last month, I think, what we had found was that they had a lot of questions and maybe a lack of true understanding of what goes on. So hoping that we can maybe take our show on the road a little bit and have the opportunity to do more speaking engagements like this. Any questions on that? Okay, so the JJC restructure, that proposal is still under review. That is my fault. And hopefully we will get that all to the board by next month. And then fiscal year 2023 grant planning. The grant has not been posted yet, but Julia just kind of wanted to reach out and see if anybody saw any current needs that we should be focused on when the grant does come out. I don't know if anybody has any ideas right now. We're kind of just throwing this at you, but if there are things that you think of that we should focus on in the grant, please reach out to Julia. Anything right now anybody wants to talk about on that? Okay. And then the CPRD data presentation, Julia has reached out to begin coordinating for that. Did you want to say anything else on that, Julia?
No, they have a new staff member who would be doing the presentation. And so part of my question to them is, making sure that this is going to be a meaningful presentation, that we have data that is going to be different than what we shared last year, so that we can just continue to build on the conversation. So
any questions on that? Okay, so we will move on to new business, and I got a little bit ahead of myself, but the new business is the podcast speaker for the IMSA students. It's more than, as I said, it's more than just mental health. They're looking for people to talk about your perspective as to why juveniles end up in the court system, what happens to them when they're in the court system. As I said, they're a really good group of kids, so I'm hoping that we can help them out, and they are looking to be a part of us and to continue that relationship with them. Any questions on that? Okay. Sorry, I was at a very long county board meeting this morning, so I may have talked a little fast today. I apologize. But that is, are there any other updates that anyone wants to share? All good. Okay. So our next meeting then, will be our quarterly meeting. That will be April 14th. That will be virtual. And then our next board meeting is May 12th. If anybody doesn't have anything else, then I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I'll second my first official act.
Thank you. Thanks again. Okay, then we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. See you next month.